welcome to the 9 o'clock news. Tonight's top story is the continuation of the hostage negotiations at the Munich Olympics. This is what we know so far.
Around 5 o'clock this evening, 11 Israeli Olympic team members were taken hostage by Palestinian terrorists. We have learned what the terrorists' demands. They want a release of a large number of prisoners from prisons in Israel and Germany. A plot to rescue the hostages was foiled as the terrorists knew they were coming. The latest is that the hostages will be moved. For more on this, we go to our ears in the ground at the Olympic Village.
Okay, so Conan, what is the atmosphere like on the ground down there?
At the moment, the atmosphere around the Olympic Village is an unusual one. The news of the hostage situation has been spread throughout the village. However, the area is still surrounded by its familiar state of joy and excitement that comes with every Olympic Summer Games. With the Olympic Village being such a spread out area, there is a feeling amongst the athletes that they are not in any significant danger and that they must continue to concentrate on their goals of achieving good results in their respective sports and to enjoy the whole experience. With the games ongoing while the hostage situation continues, the athletes have no choice but to refocus themselves and to concentrate on their own performance.
Would you even know there is a situation?
From my understanding, there is absolutely no signs that there is such a serious security situation ongoing. The athletes themselves are out here sunning themselves, they're swimming, talking about technique with athletes of other countries, and yet this very disturbing situation is still taking place inside the village. As of now, the athletes are continuing to enjoy themselves and absorb the atmosphere of this increasingly disturbing Olympic Games.
And what do people think of the games continuing?
From my conversations earlier with everyday people on the street, the overwhelming feeling about the games continuing is pure and utter outrage. Several protests around the city are currently being organised as we speak. However, from an athlete's point of view, the atmosphere here inside the Olympic Village is one of hope that the games will continue to go ahead as normal. So there is a clear conflict of opinions on this decision, and one which will cause frustration no matter what decision is made.
Now we're going to head over to our Middle East correspondent, Connor. So Connor, who are these people?
Well, gentlemen, when looking at who these people are, their name is the Black September, and they're a Palestinian terrorist organisation founded in 1970. They were formed after King Hussein of Jordan declared military rule in the country, and they work with the Palestine Liberation Organisation, which seek to remove Israeli influence from the region. They also seek revenge for Abdul Ali Iliad, the last supposed leader of the Palestinian people in Jordan, who was murdered by King Hussein of Jordan. They have already made international recognition with the assassination of the Jordanian Prime Minister Wasafi al-Tal on the 28th of November 1971.
Why has this happened and what's their thinking?
So looking at why this has happened and what their thinking behind it is, we must of course look to the occasion. The Olympics, being on a global scale, will provide them mass press coverage and will help, they believe, further their cause. Now, as to what their cause is, we must look back to May 8th in the year, which saw the Lod Airport hostage situation, in which, after taking over an aircraft, demanded over 300 Palestinian prisoners be released. We believe that something similar is happening right now, with over 200 Palestinian prisoners being asked to be released from Israel and about 5 from Germany. So we're really looking at history repeating itself, and they're having another go at what they believe was a failed mission earlier in the year.
What will the reaction be on both sides of this conflict?
When looking at the response to this on an international level, we must first look at Europe and America. We expect to see sympathy and solidarity shown by those countries to Israel in its time of great hardship. Looking, however, to the Middle East, we expect this to be a completely different situation. Countries in the region have great tension towards Israel right now, with the Muslim and Jewish populations clashing in almost all of the countries. The only difference in Jordan is the fact that the Black September have previously struck there with the death of Wasafi al-Tal. However, Israel and Jordan do not have the greatest of past histories, with the 1968 attack on Beirut airport in Jordan by the Israelis. We may see silence coming from these countries with regards to these attacks, and we may see Israel take this silence as a sign that the countries indeed agree and promote the attacks on Israel and her people.
Now Caroline, you are our seasoned negotiator. Could you bring us through the steps of what angles the negotiators will
Yes. Okay. Right now, we know that the Palestine group is holding 11 Israel athletes hostage in their room in the Olympic Village. The government officials and the authorities are currently engaging in negotiations with the terrorists. As of right now, I cannot release many details involving the negotiations, but I can say that these negotiators are doing everything in their power to bring these athletes home safely. To understand the angles that the negotiators are taking, you need to know the 3 stages of hostage situations. Understanding these stages is crucial for the negotiators. The first stage, attack and hostage taking, has already been completed. We are currently in the middle of the second stage, demands and negotiations. The negotiations began at 6 a.m. with the terrorists throwing a note out the window with a list of their demands. The terrorists were also requesting that the demands be met by 9 a.m. I noted that the negotiators' first response was to delay the deadline as much as possible. The government and the negotiators understand that the hostages are unharmed and are relatively safe as long as the terrorists are unprovoked. So, they are proceeding with precaution when denying their request. The final stages of a hostage situation is the termination, which I believe will be fairly soon.
We've already been talking to Connor about what these men want. In your opinion, what was the chances of these men getting what they want?
I would say that the chances of survival are very high. The negotiations are going very well, and I feel strongly that these athletes will return home safely soon.
So now we're going to head over to Stephanie, who is currently in the Munich Olympic Stadium. So regarding the other athletes, how has this situation impacted them?
Here in the middle of the games and the hostage situation, there seems to be little focus on the Israeli hostages as the games continued on and with the athletes competing as they would any other time. Many of the athletes seem to just be preparing for their competition as if the hostage situation was not even happening.
How has this situation impacted them?
Clearly, these athletes have trained extensively for the Olympics, but after this current situation, what is their opinion on the games continuing?
The games were suspended hours after the initial attack in the Israeli team members' apartments. This is the first time the Olympic Games competition has ever been suspended. There have been some criticism as to whether the games should have been suspended immediately after the news broke of the hostage situation. However, supporters still filled the stadium today and the games were eagerly followed by those all over the world.
How was the overall morale in the stadium? Has the situation affected the number of supporters attending the games?
The games were suspended hours after the initial attack in the Israeli team members' apartments. This is the first time the Olympic Games competition has ever been suspended. There have been some criticism as to whether the games should have been suspended immediately after the news broke of the hostage situation. However, supporters still filled the stadium today and the games were eagerly followed by those all over the world.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So now over to our Olympic correspondent, Paddy. So Paddy, a statement has been released that the games will be continuing. Can you provide us with any information on the process of this decision making?
Well, following the 24 hours of mourning, a number of members of the Olympic Committee came together. After this meeting, it was decided by President Avery Brundage that the Games must go on. He was very clear about this message as he believed it was in the spirit of the Olympic Games that they must go on.
Was the decision a unanimous one? And were there much disagreements with this decision?
What precautions are being taken to ensure the safety of both the supporters and the athletes as the Games continue?
At the beginning, when we spoke to some nations, they did have some fears and concerns. However, they then too agreed that the Games should go on. The people on the ground seem to be a little bit uneasy at the minute, and they too are fearing more attacks. However, we believe that increased security and police can get on top of this, and there will be no more further violence at the Games.
And thank you to our correspondent, Paddy.
And now we're going to go over to our man on the ground, Aaron. So Aaron, what's the public opinion of the situation?
Hello and good evening, I'm Aaron Keenan and I'm here to give you the public opinion of the citizens of Munich of the recent events in the Olympic Village. Some athletes are still training in the Olympic Village while the hostage situation is ongoing. The games are being continued and athletes and people involved from Munich have worked long and hard in preparation for the games this summer. People in Munich are shocked and saddened by the events, but slowly starting to recover as many tourists and residents are out and about in the city streets today. Willie Dawn, president of the Munich organising committee, initially wanted to cancel the remainder of the games. But during the course of the afternoon, the 5th of September, IOC President Avery Brundage and others who wished to continue the games prevailed, stating that it should not let the incident halt the Games. Brundage stated, "The Games must go on. We must continue our efforts to keep them clean, pure and honest." This decision was also endorsed by the Israeli government and the Israeli Olympic Chief de Mission Shmuel Larkin. We will have more on the stories that come through. Back to you in the studio.
And how do they feel about the Games continuing?
The act of continuing the Games has caused some outrage among those in the city, and also some protests have occurred during the course of the day. One tourist stated that the spirit of the Games is diminishing after the hostage situation. It is meant to be an event to celebrate life and is currently being ruined by the hostage situation.
Thank you, Mark.
From that, we could nearly say that these men will be released soon and return safely to their families.
That's all for tonight. I want to thank all our panellists tonight and our in-field reporters. From everybody here at Channel 64 News, we would like to send our best wishes to all affected, and we look forward to their safe return. Tune back in when Ben and Sandra will be with you at 11 for more updates. Good night. Good morning and welcome to Channel 64's morning segment. There have been developments on the hostage situation in Munich. Yesterday, we informed the public of the details regarding the situation with the Munich Olympics. Here is the timeline of the events. A group of Palestinian terrorists from Black September took 11 Israeli athletes hostage. They demanded the release of prisoners in Israel and Germany. There was a rescue attempt, but unfortunately this failed. At the time, no hostages were known to be injured. After some negotiating, it was agreed that the terrorists will be transported to the Munich airport. At this point, our breaking news story starts.
In a mass shootout between the police and terrorists, all 11 Israeli athletes were killed, with one terrorist dead, with the other slightly wounded and now in custody. 2 Israeli Olympic athletes are said to have been killed at the Olympic Village. Authorities have informed us that the first shot was fired by the police, as lives of the athletes were thought to be in jeopardy. Our thoughts are with the family and friends of the Israeli athletes and the Israeli people. Channel 64 will keep you updated as the information comes in.
Thank you.